step in figuring out what you're gonna do in a new year is to figure out where you are now. So to figure out where you are now, you really need to think through how the year has gone, what you've accomplished, what you wish you had accomplished, and just kind of like what's working and what's not. Doing this review is going to help you to do a lot better in the new year because you'll know where you're going and you're not just like blindly going for things. Instead, you actually have ideas of what's working and what's not and how you can do better. So today we're going to talk through 2020 in review. So I have a whole bunch of questions that I'm going to ask you. They're separated into like 5 different parts. And so I will ask each of the questions and then I'll kind of tell you my answers. So in this, we will also talk about whether or not I've hit my goals, what I'm proud of, what I could have done better, and just all those things. I will leave these questions. Actually, I think I'm going to make a printable. I'm gonna say it, then I'll have to do it. I'm gonna make a printable, so you can click the link down below to grab this printable to have all the questions and like some space to answer it so that everything's just like super easy. And then I'll also provide some space so you can figure out what to do in the new year and just do really well. So I'm here, I have my planner, I have my bullet journal from the first half of the year. Look at that. It's so funny, if you're a bullet journal person, it is so funny to watch bullet journal videos from the beginning of 2020 because everyone just had no idea what was gonna happen. So hopefully you're in the future and you're like, oh yeah, things chilled out. I guess we'll see. And I have a page with all of my goals, and then my goals broken down by quarter, which is something I always like to do so that I just see them in like more manageable chunks and I know when to work on different things. So I will already go ahead and give you a hint. Some of these things I hit, some of them I did not, and they are just kind of all over the place. A lot of things changed in 2020, obviously, and so now I have like a much better view going forward of what to do, but I wouldn't know that if I hadn't taken the time to review my year. So let's talk through. So my first category is where are you now? So your questions for figuring out where you are now is what went well, what are you proud of, what moved you forward, and the best moments of the year. So I want to start on like a happy note. We can talk about the good things and then we'll get into things you need to change. So for my answers to these questions, the first one said what went well. A lot of things went really well this year. A lot of things went crazy this year, but a lot of things went well. One thing that went well was that I was very flexible this year. We were all kind of forced to be flexible, but I really worked hard to be flexible in my teaching style and also with my shop. So if you are new around here, hello, my name is Becca. I have a business where I sell lesson plans to teachers on a website called Teachers Pay Teachers. And so that's what I'm mostly gonna be talking about. If you hear me say TPT, that's what I mean. So on TPT, I had only physical resources. So like printable things, PowerPoints, like that kind of stuff. And then in March of 2020, if you're living under a rock, the world shut down and that included schools. So all the schools shut down. And suddenly we were trying to teach our kids on the internet and it was crazy. But in doing that, but because of this, my shop that had all of these printable resources was overnight obsolete because nobody was buying anything. I was like doing really well, making money every day, and then I went to like zero, like nothing, like no money at all, because people were not buying anything because I didn't have anything for this new style of teaching. Also because people just didn't know what to do, so they didn't know what to buy. And so that was really stressful. Like I was trying to completely redo how I was teaching my students, and then also trying to help people teach their students, and then also trying to figure out how to make money in my shop because it was now not making any money at all. So one thing that went well was my ability to pivot and and I was like, okay, we're gonna make digital resources. I don't know how to do that, but we're gonna figure it out. And so I just kind of took that and ran with it. So that went really well. Another thing that went well was that I finally got my YouTube channel sorted. So if you saw my video talking about how I messed up my YouTube channel and how I'm fixing it, I talked about how I originally made this for elementary music teachers, and I made the mistake of posting, a video about teaching, about my first month on Teachers Pay Teachers, which is still to this day one of my best videos, which is unfortunate because it's a really old video and really crappy quality and, you know, all those things, but the content's still good. So the reason this was a problem was that I had half of my audience were music teachers and half of my audience were TPT sellers, and nobody cared about the other stuff. So if I posted anything, it would get at most half of my subscribers would watch it. And because of this, it kept my channel very small for a long time. This year, I finally figured out, like, oh, hey, most of my views are coming from TPT sellers. Let's lean into that. And I ended up completely separating, and I created a separate new channel for my music teachers called Becca's Music Room. And so now all my music stuff is over there and all of my TPT stuff is over here. That changed my life. Seriously, like, I'm not even kidding. As I say, that changed my life because it not only made my YouTube channel grow, I finally got enough subscribers to get monetized, but then it has grown so much more. I was looking, and last year at this time I had 300 subscribers, and this year at this time I have 3,300. Like, I have gained 3,000 this year, and it is blowing my mind. But it's crazy because it has kind of changed my course of how I'm running my business. And specifically, I ended up making courses for TPT sellers, and I found that I love talking business and helping people with their business. It is my jam. I love helping people with music. I love helping music teachers. I love all that. But oh my gosh, I can nerd out and talk about business all day long, which is why I love this YouTube channel, because I literally get to do that. So that is something that went really well. Was splitting up my YouTube channel was a really good decision. Another thing that went really well was just getting better with my planning this year. I tend to overplan, which means I put way too many things on my to-do list. So I'm either really stressed out and tired by the end of the day because I had too many things to do, or I don't get them all accomplished and then I feel like failure. So this year I really had to work on how I was going to do better in that area, like how I was going to plan better so that I actually planned how to accomplish. So like, I've got a much better planning system now and things are just moving a lot better. All right, so the next question is, what are you the most proud of this year? Or just what are you proud of this year? So I'm proud of my YouTube channel. I'm proud of my TPT store because it has done so much better. But the biggest thing that I am proud of, like the best moment of this year, was publishing this book. I wrote this book, The Happier Teacher Life, in June of 2019, and it is all about helping teachers to be less stressed with practical advice. If you've been around here, you know I love practical, actionable things that you can do through like how to change your mindset, how to plan, how to do all these different things, how to work on your self-care so that you are less stressed. And I did not know then that it was going to be this necessary this year because I didn't know what was going to happen in 2020. But I finally got this published in October of 2020, and it is the thing I am the most proud of. Like, when I got it in the mail, I pretty much started crying. I was like, it's just crazy. Like, there is nothing like holding a physical book that you created in your hands. And then even more than that, seeing people read it and like posting pictures and sending them to me of like my book in their hands has been crazy. So this is the thing I'm the most proud of. It is amazing. It's on Amazon. I will link it below. Even if you're not a teacher, it's still helpful. I just talk mostly to teachers. I'm gonna go change my battery. All right, so that is 100% the thing I am the most proud of from this year. There's been a lot of good moments. Even in the midst of the crazy, there's still been a lot of good moments, but that is the if I had only accomplished that this year, I still would have like considered it a success. All right, the next question is, what are some things that moved you forward? So like me in your personal life, in your business, in whatever. For me, definitely splitting up my YouTube channel moved me forward. Creating courses has moved me forward and totally changed my life. Love it. It's definitely moved me forward. And just kind of understanding people. And the third thing I would say moved me forward is just being very consistent throughout the year. It's been a crazy year, but just really being consistent and talking to people and just being aware of what's going on has helped everything to grow. I feel like it could have been very easy this year, and you might be in this boat, and that's fine. To take this year and just let it like totally destroy me, but I decided not to do that and instead just kind of to run with it. I work when I'm stressed, which is probably why I got so much done this year. But just, yeah, being consistent even when it was hard. Really good. And then what are the best moments of the year? For sure, publishing my book. Other good moments have just been very simple things this year. So like hanging out with my dogs and cuddling up on the couch. Oh my gosh, watching Christmas movies, sitting on the couch, drinking hot chocolate has just been like so nice. And just really taking time to appreciate the little things this year have been really good. Yeah, I don't feel like I have a lot of standout moments, but just really taking the time to like step back and appreciate things have really helped this year. So my book coming out, yeah, we went to Charleston, just my husband and myself, for our anniversary-ish. It was actually after our anniversary. Like that was really nice, and just all the small things, really nice. All right, moving on to section 2 is where did you want to be by the end of this year? So go through, if you made a list of goals or resolutions or whatever you did at the beginning of 2020, go through those and see where you originally wanted to be, and then if you hit that. So I'm gonna go through my goals for this year and let you know just kind of how they went. That's why I have my bullet journal here. So the first one was I wanted to publish a book. Got that. The second one was I originally wanted to make some kids books. Well, I still want to make kids books. I want to make children's books, but I wanted to make one of them this year that I already like kind of started, and I ended up not doing that, which is fine, because I just didn't know, you know, what the year was going to entail, and I ended up doing a lot of other things instead. And so I think that's still something I want to do, but I'm kind of like pushing it back a little bit longer, and I'll do it a little bit later. Number 3 is I wanted to make $20,000 on TPT. Y'all, this sounded like the most stressful thing when I set this goal, because I only made, I think, $8,000 in 2019. So the idea of making 20,000 was like over twice as much, and it is almost the end of the year. It is December 28th, and I am at $21,370. Crazy. I actually hit 20,000 on December 1st, and I was in awe, blown away that that happened, and then that I had a whole month to, you know, just make whatever. This month is a little bit lower because teachers are off for 2 weeks, and so, you know, I'm not on TPT buying anything, but like that was just, it was just so crazy. So crazy to me that that actually did happen. The third one was I wanted to make $1,000 on Etsy. So I do have actually have 2 Etsy shops because I'm a crazy person. I did not make that. I made $623. And the other one made $287. Okay, so I'm pretty close actually to 1,000. That's not too shabby. And that number honestly was just kind of pulled out of a hat. I was like, I would like this to do better. That was it. The next goal was to hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I hit that in April, I think I want to say. The next one was, oh, I guess I had split these up. Oh. Okay, so my next one says sell 12 paintings this year, and I had 11 orders, but some of them were for 2 things. So let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so I sold 30. Oh, that's so exciting. I didn't think I had hit any goals on that one because it doesn't do. I have 2 different Etsy shops. I have one for music stuff. So I have like ukulele bags, recorder bags, music tote bags, music theme things for music. It's for music teachers. So it's anything goes in the music teacher realm. And then I have one that is paintings, and that's what I was referring to here. That's exciting. I didn't know that. Next up, I have read 33 books. I think I'm at 48 because I did not know that I was gonna have so much time to read this year, and especially I've taught online since March, and being on the computer that much, like I really want something that is not computer based after that. So it's been really nice to be able to read so much. So that's exciting. And then I wanted to play cello 3 times a week. I did not do a great job of that. And I apparently was going to do 50 French lessons in Duolingo. I do not think I hit that either because I kind of gave up on that after a while. So there are my 2020 goals. The third section is to figure out like why or why you did not hit those. So for the ones I didn't hit would kind of be the biggest ones. I did not do the kids book because I had just other things that kind of took priority this year, which was good, and I think it was definitely the right move. I didn't play my cello 3 times a week because I didn't. You know, I have lots of excuses like, oh, I was doing other things, but when it comes down to it, I just didn't. I gave up on the French lessons because honestly, I was just like, I don't really have a reason to learn French right now because I'm not going anywhere where they speak French, so it's not that big of a deal. And make $1,000 on Etsy. I didn't do that because I didn't focus on it. So there's your reasons why I did not hit the ones that I didn't want to hit. And some of those, like, as you go through your goals, some of those, like, you know, I wanted to do a kids book, they didn't work out, and that's fine. It's not a big deal because things just changed. So there's that. Number 4 has a couple of different ones. So this is kind of like where you can improve. So the first question is, what was disconnected? What would you have done differently if you could like go back and change something? What was a complete waste of time? And what is holding you back? So these are all things that we want to like change in the new year. So what was disconnected? So at the beginning of the year, my YouTube channel was definitely disconnected. And the other thing is I felt like I had a lot of things going on that weren't connected. So literally they were disconnected. So next year, one of my big goals is to kind of like get things to make more sense. So having, you know, like my YouTube videos and my blogs and my products and my, you know, Instagram posts all going together so that they make sense. So I already kind of started making strides to that this year, but I want to do better in the new year. I just feel like I could have made things connected a little bit better. The next thing is, what would you have done differently? Well, one thing I definitely would have done differently is I would have made more digital resources before March. So that would be number 1. Number 2 is I didn't know what was going to happen this school year. So like at the end of last school year, I was like, I don't know if I should make all digital resources because I don't know if people are going to still be buying those later or not. But I definitely could have done that. What else could I have done differently? Some of my launches I definitely could have done a lot better. Like for my courses, I definitely could have launched those better. I didn't quite know what I was doing as far as launching. And then also trying to put my courses on Evergreen has just been a whole thing. Like I need better ways for those to sell better just kind of on their own. So those are a few things I would do differently. What was a waste of time? What was a waste of time? So this is gonna be controversial, but so at the end of last year, something I would have done differently. Oh my gosh, I would have done all of the end of last year differently, like March, April, and May. So I'm a teacher, so you know I get like last school year versus last calendar year confused. But last school year, March, April, and May, I would have done totally different because I was so stressed out. Yes, Becca, who literally wrote the book about how to not be stressed out, just whacked myself in the face, was super stressed out because it's just the state of the world. Everything went online, so like we were at home. My job changed multiple times because just no one knew what, like, you know, my principal didn't know what to do because this had never happened before, so she didn't know what to tell me to do. And so there were just a lot of things going on that I should have done better teaching wise, but I was just so stressed out. So I definitely would have handled the end of last school year much better. Something that was a waste of time was all the stressing that I did at the end of last school year. And also I spent so much time making all of these activities and lesson plans and videos and just all these different things for my students at the end of last year. And none of them did them. Like, I mean, I would spend hours and hours on like one lesson and maybe 2 kids would do the activity just because of the state of everything and all the weirdness and just all the things. Like it was nothing on me. It wasn't like I wasn't doing my job. I was killing myself and there was no point because the kids weren't doing it. So that was fun. That was a huge waste of time. And then along with that, also there were like 3 times where I would spend all this time getting all this stuff prepped and ready, and then I would be told by my principal like, oh no, that's not what we wanted. Like after I finished, you know, a ton of work. And that happened like 3 times, which is why this year I took that and I learned from it. And so this school year I have been like, let's wait and see what I need to do first, and then I will decide and, you know, do all the other things. So that was a huge waste of time. I know that sounds really bad because I was like doing my job, but I was like overdoing my job and like working extra for literally nothing. Like most of the kids didn't even find my Google Classroom by the end of the year. And I was like, well, this is stupid. So that was great. What is something that is holding you back? Come here. Do you want to say hi to the people? Want to say hi to the people? Come here. Come here. Hi, there you are. Okay. So what are some things that are holding you back? This year, I think there was a lot of things that I just didn't know that ended up holding me back, and I figured them, now she's snapping the camera. I figured them out, but they definitely did hold me back. And then I had, I did use the state of the world as kind of an excuse for some things and for reasons I didn't do as much as I normally would have done. Which part of me is like, that's probably okay, because in order to deal with the stress, I kind of had to like compensate in other areas, but also like it did hold me back a little bit. And then the other thing I would say is, especially at the end of last school year, kind of spreading myself really thin as far as like products. Like I wasn't doing a good job with like product lines. I was kind of like all over the place with what I was making. Because I just didn't know. I just didn't know. So basically I just didn't know anything. And that was definitely holding me back. Hi. And the last thing is, what are things that you would like to keep doing the same? What are things you want to change? What are things you want to start? And what do you want to stop? So this is a little diagram that I often draw out, and I think through these things typically every week, but at least every month. Typically, I will do this on a weekly basis and also a quarterly basis, but just, you know, what do you want to continue doing? What do you want to change? Like what's not working? What are you going to start doing? And what are you going to stop doing? Okay. Okay, so this is the last step, is keep, change, start, and stop. So things I would like to keep doing, I'm going to continue with a blog post a week. I'm going to continue with 2 YouTube videos a week. Those are things I'm keeping. Things I'm changing, altering. I tried batching my blog posts at the end of this year, and it was a hot mess. But the concept was really good. So I am going to change my blog post production from 1 per week to batching them. So I'm going to do that in January. I will batch all of them for January, February, March, and April. And so that is something that I want to change a bit, is how I do my blogs. I also want to change up my product creation and just really work on doing more like product lines and all those things that I talked to you guys about. And I'm going to do like one per month. I have 350 products. So I don't really need a ton of products, which means that I have a little more leeway to be like, okay, I don't need to do a ton. I can just do, you know, whatever I'm excited about. And then I do want to continue creating, especially digital resources at the moment. Things I'm going to start doing is being more intentional with bigger product creating. No, how do I want to phrase that? Bigger money making activities. So I sat down, and for this year I, you know, decided on how much money I wanted to make, and then I sat through and I thought about things I want to do, bigger things. So instead of thinking on the individual, like here's a product, there's a product, trying to think more of what are bigger money making activities. So like I made a lot more with my course than I did with individual products. It's a lot more work, but it still made a lot more money. And I think that now that I know what I'm doing, I can do a better job with like launching and just all those different things. So one thing I want to start doing is thinking on kind of a bigger picture money making goals. So like, what are books that I can create? What are big resources that I can do? What are big product lines that'll sell well? Just kind of thinking that like bigger picture instead of like minuscule. I also want to start, I keep talking about this. Y'all are probably like, Becca, you're crazy. I want to start hiring someone to come and clean my house like once a month. I don't need them a lot because I'm very good at like keeping things tidy. I'm very good at like vacuuming because I have German Shepherds and they shed a lot. I'm good at like dishes and laundry and those kind of things. But I want someone to come in and like dust and, you know, vacuum under the furniture and clean the baseboards and really deep clean the bathrooms and like those more in-depth things that I'm not as good about. Actually, it's kind of the opposite. It's the more detailed things I'm not as good about. Again, bigger picture thinker, I'm not good at details. So I want to start hiring someone for that in Q3. I want to do that before I go back to school next year. Is my goal. I also want to start saving up for a new car because my car is 14 this year. My car's gonna be 14 in 2021 and that's just kind of old for a car. And so that's something that I'm like starting to think about, is like, okay, how can I do that? Something else I want to start is I want to start paying down my bills so that my monthly expenses are cheaper. So like pay off the other car. Mine's obviously paid off because it's 14, but pay off the other car, pay off some bills, start paying off student loans, like those kind of things, so that my monthly bills are less, so that there's just a little more leeway in like how we spend our money. And then the last thing is things I want to stop. So some things I want to stop, these are kind of silly, but I want to stop stressing about all the things. So that's number one, is stop stressing, especially the next few months. We are going back in the building in January and it's just gonna be like a whole new adjustment. And so I'm anticipating some extra stress and I'm anticipating the fact that I will need to chill out. So I want to stop stressing about those things. I want to stop over planning. So I want to stop having like too many things on my to-do list that I definitely can't get done. I want to be more realistic with my planning to like actually know what I can accomplish. And I want to stop being embarrassed, I guess, to share both online but also in person about my business. So I always kind of get that like imposter syndrome-y thing where I'm like, you know, who am I to share all these tips? Who am I to help people out? And then I really get it in person when I talk to people I know, like, oh my gosh, they're gonna think it's so weird that I have this business and I have a YouTube channel, like that's just so strange. But I have found that most of the time people are very kind and they just think it's awesome because I have the work. You know, if you find my YouTube channel and you find that I have like over 100 videos, like that's pretty good. It's not like I'm brand new. And also, like, people are just happy to have different insights. I never am trying to come off as like I know all the things. I'm just sharing what I learned, and different perspectives are always good, even if you know more than I do. That's great. Comment below, let me know all the things. But I really want to stop with feeling weird about all that stuff. So that's my 2020 review and the questions that you should answer. So I'm gonna leave the link to the printable down below. I would love it if you would either, one, type in the comments the answers to some of these questions. If you have your own YouTube channel or blog, you could totally do a video or a blog about that and then link it in the comments below. Do put something else in the comments so that YouTube doesn't think you're spam. Or share a picture of your completed review on Instagram with me. I am at becca.e.davis. It's a little obnoxious. It's linked below. So you can check that out. So you can tag me in that, and I would love to give you a shout out on my stories if you tag me in yours. So thank you guys so much for watching. I look forward to hearing how your year went. I always love doing this because even whether you had a good year or not, like there's just so much you can learn about what you need to do by thinking through what went well and what didn't go well. I also do one of these about mid-year to see, you know, like what I need to continue and how I should change things and if I need to change my goals and all that kind of stuff. So thank you so much for being here. Subscribe if you want more goal setting content because we're gonna have a couple more videos about that. And yeah, I will see you guys later. Bye.